friends, I'm just goofing with literally the very first lick that I ever learned in my life from Def Leppard. It went from the song Foolin'. I was just goofing with it with my looper here and just came up with these other parts and what have you, so I just wanted to share that with you. Just having kind of some fun today here. Hey, Spider-Man, you here anywhere, bro? You want to come here? Hey, my son has been watching Storybots here. Before I go into this here really quickly, before I tell you about what we're doing here today, get in here, buddy. He's been watching Storybots, which is a really cool little fun kids series on Netflix. And he's been watching something on music. Get in here, get in here, get in here. And so he was going to tell us, why don't you tell everybody the 5 elements to music?
I don't see them.
They're right here. You got to look right up there. Okay, so tell them, what's the 5 elements?
Melody.
Hold on, what's the first one?
Melody.
Melody.
Harmony.
Harmony.
Rhythm.
What?
Rhythm.
Rhythm.
Timbre.
Timbre or timbre, right? The sound of an instrument, okay?
And intensity.
And intensity. Ooh, right? Nice. Thanks, Spider-Man. Appreciate
You're
that, buddy.
welcome. I love. Yeah.
Now get out of here.
Okay.
All right, love you. Thank you, buddy. That was
You're
great.
welcome.
Thanks, pal. Okay, that's my boy right there. Okay, friends, welcome to the 30-day guitar challenge, right? It is day 16. This is how it goes. 21 to 30 days to develop a habit, right? And so that's what we're doing in this beautiful month of April, where we get to be close to our families and we get to have a blast and get quiet and go inward and all this other stuff. So really good stuff happening. I can feel it. Can you? Okay, so we're doing 2 hours of live every single day during the month of April from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and from 11 to 12 we do a beginner lesson, and from 12 to 1 we do an advanced lesson. And so this right here, today we're going to be talking about the 16th, we're going to talk about how to tune your guitar. I'm going to show you both with a tuner and tuning the guitar to itself, because sometimes you might find that that's much more convenient. And then we're going to talk a lot about playing by ear today. So the lesson about how to tune your guitar is going to be pretty short and sweet, and then I'll answer any questions for you. And then how to play by ear, friends. This is a learned thing, by the way. Everybody, you learn to play by ear by hearing, okay? That little guy in there is going to hear a symphony in the same exact way that I'm going to hear it, but I might interpret it differently, right? Just like if someone gives a speech, you see on the media right now, two people will interpret it differently, right? So, and much of all in life that's what we do, is we interpret it differently. But as an advanced musician, as you get to attune your ear, as you tune your ear, as you get to hearing stuff better, you will understand what a diminished chord is, what a major chord is, what a minor chord is, and that sort of thing. But you're still hearing the same stuff as this little guy did, right? Make sense? You're just interpreting it differently. So we're going to talk about all that, because I say that playing by ear has 90% to do with your understanding of music and how it applies, okay? I'll prove that in the second hour. I'm not going to do that right away. Right now we're going to talk about how to tune the guitar and all that good stuff, okay? But before we begin, the very first link below is how to get this PDF, okay? Just click on that link and you'll have access to this PDF. It's going to give you all the stuff we're doing for beginner, all the stuff we're doing for advanced, and then the day and all that good stuff. Also, you're going to get more free stuff in that PDF. The second link that I want you to go to is the link below that, which is the Unstoppable Guitar System. You can get in there for free, the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, or if you want Pro, you can get in there too. Cool? All right, awesome. Let's do this. We're going to get into it. Oh, if you haven't already, please like the video and share it. And, and if you like these videos, then subscribe. Yes, that's it. Okay, ready? Here we go. So we're going to talk about how to use this darn tuner and then how to tune the guitar to itself. So for those, some folks out there are like, why are you showing that? I know that already. Cool. Because the world, it has many people in it. And it's not just you and me, right? So it has many people in it, and some people don't know how to use the tuner, just like you didn't know the tuner and you wanted someone to take the time to show you how to use the tuner and tune the guitar by itself. That's why we're doing that, right? But I don't suspect we don't have anybody who's whiny like that in here. Probably not. I try to weed those people out. I got no time for that. All right, so here's the deal. So when we are tuning the guitar is tuned to the strings E, A, D, G, B, E, right? From the top, E, A, D, G, B, E, or Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. That's how we remember. And so if I pluck this E string here, it should show up as an E right there. I'm going to do something here real quick. Hold on. Sorry, I gotta set this do not disturb thing up here, otherwise people might call my phone and mess it up in the middle of a broadcast. Okay, so here we go. So I'm hitting this low E string, and then you can see right there, it says E, right? It's right on the center. Now here's a little ninja trick. When you're tuning your guitar, always tune up to a note, never tune down. So if you're too high above the note, just tune it below the note, stretch the string out, give it a little stretch like this, and then tune it up, okay? We could go into all the theories as to why that is. They're not theories. I mean, they are, but it's also truth. It's just going to keep your guitar in tune better because you're not allowing the slack to remain in the areas where when you do bend a string or the guitar gets knocked or something like that, then it dissipates that string tension across the entire guitar, and now you have a guitar that's out of tune, okay? So there you go. There's an A. Here's D. Okay, now that one's slightly flat. I'm gonna kind of give that string a little tug, and I'm gonna tune it up to the note. Always tune up to the note. Also, if you notice your strings changing, right? Pitch, a lot of times that has to do with temperature or humidity. And so what you can do in the morning, what I'll do right before I tune, is I'll run my hands across the strings like this a few times to warm them up, because it inevitably changes the pitch of the string. Okay, because if you're playing them, they're gonna have a different temperature than if you're not playing them. Make sense? Okay, so look at that G right there. It's a little bit flat. Tuning up to it. Here's a B, and then here's our E. Okay. Now again, if it was too high, if that thing was over here, it would be too high. Then it's too sharp. I would tune it down below that note, and then I would stretch the string, tune it back up. Okay. Now when we tune to A440, which means that the A, and I think it's this A up here, is 440 cycles per second. 404. It's shaking 440 cycles per second on the Hertz scale. Hertz, Hertz scale. So that's 440. This should be 220, and then this should be 110. So it's just a standard that we tune to. That's it. So if your friend tunes to 335, and then you go and you play together, it's not going to sound right because you got to be tuning to 440. Or if you agree on 332 or 335 or whatever. It's been many of these different tunings before. And so everybody tunes together, okay? So that's if you're tuning the guitar to a tuner. Now the Rolling Stones and a lot of bands in the 60s and what have you sometimes would just tune to each other. They'd be generally in tune, right? They'd be in general tune, and then everybody would tune to Keith Richards or something, and he may be in tune and he may not be in tune, but he was in tune with himself. So if the band is in tune, right, then it's okay. It's going to sound fine. You're not going to notice that they're not in tune with a tuner because there's nothing to compare it to. For the same reason that if I sing happy birthday to you, or if I sing happy birthday to you, it's like the first note maybe you'll be thrown off, but then once we get into the rest of the song, the relative pitch, the distance of the pitches, you're like, oh, I recognize that song as happy birthday. But it doesn't matter that I'm tuned to a specific note. Make sense? Okay. So now, if we wanted to tune the guitar like Keith Richards did or whoever in the studio, and they weren't using a tuner sometimes, we have to know how to tune the guitar to itself. So because E, A, D, G, B, E, because we have those notes, we can easily tune the guitar to itself. Usually if you're playing a chord, you might hear a note is out. That's the one you would want to tune to itself. And you don't necessarily have to grab the tuner, because if one string is out, the chances of all the other 5 strings being out and that one string being in tune are highly unlikely. Stephen, thanks so much. UGS Pro is all you need. Awesome teacher. Eric is the truth. Follow the lessons and take it slowly and you will rock. Thank you, Stephen. So kind, bud. So if one string's out, pardon me, chances are it's that one string and not everything else. So it'd be great to not have to go look for your tuner and just be able to tune the guitar to itself. So let's just say that's the case. Let's say this string's out of tune. So I go to play a chord. Wow. There we go. I go, oh boy, my guitar's out of tune. Which note's out of tune? So I'm gonna pick through the chord. That's the guy. But let me keep going. Let me see if the other ones are in. Okay, those are fine. So you can see 5 strings are fine, but the G is out. So I would need to tune the G. Now, I said the G is out. That's the 3rd string. So I could go to the 4th string and find a G. Watch this. So here is D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. So if I'm picking a G on here and I know that string's in tune, then this G should be accurate. And then I'm going to compare it to the string that's out, which is a G. So this one's correct. I have a benchmark, right? I have something to go by, an example, if you will, a role model, if you will. So that one's correct. This one's out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to correct that one. So I'm going to make sure that I'm twisting the right peg here, which is this guy, the 3rd one. So see? Now the guitar's in tune perfectly. Now, if you want more information on this, it's in the free course that I'm giving you today, the 2nd link below. I believe I have videos for both, tuning the guitar with a tuner and tuning the guitar to itself. It's good to be able to do both, and later on, as you get better, you're going to have other methods like tuning to harmonics, that sort of thing, okay? So, good to be well-versed at all the different ways that you can tune. Excellent. Okay, beautiful. More information on that, plus PDFs and what have you, inside UGS Standard, the free course that I'm giving you guys today. All right, let's get into some questions, folks, shall we? I'm really so excited to be with you guys today. All right, if you would, too, all caps and a question mark for those questions, right? 440, that's why my 3 tuners read all different. They weren't all at 440. Ah, there you go. All right, light bulb moment for Stafford. There you go. Oh, Joe, look, I love when people who have more knowledge than me about a particular something come in and say stuff like this, because this is great. Coefficient of elasticity of steel is the reason why you tune from below. I don't know what that means, Joe, but I can tell you that there is a reason that probably doesn't have to do with that as well. But I suspect that you're probably right. You sound pretty scientific there. But I can tell you that why we do it on the guitar is that, and maybe this is what you're saying, the coefficient of elasticity. But I can tell you that if you have equal pressure across the entire guitar, right, where the tension's the same all the way across, then you're great. But what happens is when the nut pinches this string and you go to tune it down like I did and it didn't tune down, it's because it's being held here by the nut. So it has less to do with the science of the string, the stretchiness of the string, if you will, has more to do with the fact that it's being held here. Just like if I had pliers and did this, right? If I held it right there while I tune this down, or a locking tuner not locking tuners, a locking nut. You could tune these or clip them off completely once they're tuned up, and it would still stay in tune, right? So the reason why we're doing it is because there's slack in the line, but your coefficient of elasticity may have something to do with it too. I'm sure. I'll have to see what that is, but I can tell you that from the guitar, when there's slack in the line like that, that's why we're doing it. Okay. So if we had a tuner that was right here and the string stopped right here, there wouldn't be any variable of pressure here or here. And I don't know this because someone's told me. I know this because of time of tuning so many times that I said, oh, that's why it's doing it, the pressure, because you can hear it sometimes. It'll go ting, and that ting will be the pressure being released one way or the other. Does that make sense? Okay, can you tune correctly with a capo on the neck? Yeah, so what you want to do is once you put the capo on the neck, then you want to tune. So make sure that when you put the capo on the neck, you're not like moving the capo after it's on there tightly. So once it's on there nicely, then you want to go ahead and tune correctly. Okay? And you'll want to do that with a capo because they do put your guitar out just a little bit. So if you tune up, it stays tight, but if you go down, it continues down. No, Jane, it's that there's an uneven amount of tension. So when you tune up, what's happening is you're pulling the tension out and pulling it across the entire string. Also, if you give the string a good tug before you tune up, that will also help, okay? Now, it could be that there's a little bit too much tension here, but the problem is when there's too much, when it's looser over on this end, you know, and not loose in the middle, because you're gonna bend a string, okay? Usually you're gonna bend a string. Now the other way is that if the tension was uneven here and you use the whammy bar, then yes, that some of that tension would dissipate back over here and then your strings would be sharp. But what I found the best method, if there is a best method here, which there's only two methods, right? Tune up or tune down. That tuning up makes a lot more sense. Classical musicians do the same thing too. I learned this just by myself, and then I started asking other musicians, and they're like, oh yeah, I do that. I tune up to the note all the time. So it's like one of those things that's kind of unspoken, but it definitely makes a big difference, yeah. What do they mean when they tune down to G, and why so they do it? It's just personal preference. Maybe their singer can only sing the song with the guitar tuned down low like that. Maybe they don't want, maybe they like the way the strings sound. I'm saying maybe because these are the reasons why you would do that. Maybe they like the strings, that sound of that really dark, detuned guitar. Lots of reasons why one might do that. What to do? You put the nut to stop pinging. Don's saying. Don, that means the nut is pinching the string, and that means you need to have the nut filed. It needs to be cut correctly for your strings. I wouldn't do this myself. I would get a pro to do it for you. But that's the reason. It's pinching the string. Patrick, hey Eric, would you be able to cover how to tune a 12 string? Patrick, there's nothing different about tuning a 12 string. It's the exact same methodology. You just have 12 strings now and you got to keep up with all the tuners. This is why I do not suggest 12 strings, especially for beginners. But it's the exact same method, so there's no real need to cover that. You're using the same exact techniques, nothing different. Still strings. You just got more of them, okay? If you tune to standard tuning with a capo on, what tuning would the guitar be in? Well, Albert, it would depend where the capo's at. But you wouldn't do that, because if you did this and then tuned everything up, well, no, actually, you'd have to tune it down. You could do that, sure. But it depends where the capo is. So if you were here, you'd have to tune down a half step. If you were here, you'd have to tune down a whole step. If you were here, you'd have to tune down 2.5 steps. Eric, but I don't know why you do that. Eric, I may have missed it, but can you show folks how to tune using fret harmonics, please? None yet. Yeah, sure. So for most of these, it's the same. So 5 on the E string, 7 on the A string. If I tune this up, or turned it up a little bit. The advantage to this is I don't have to have my hands on the guitar and reach over. I can just do this. So that's for strings 6 and 5. And then I can do the same thing for 5 and 4. And I can do the same thing for 4 and 3. And because the B string is tuned to a major third instead of a perfect fourth, we can't do it the same way, not with that 5 and 7. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to play the 4th fret. And then we can get back to the 5 and 7 for the 2 and the 1 again. So it doesn't work when you're going from the 3 to the 2 because the B string, is tuned down a half step. It's a major third instead of a perfect fourth. Cool? All right, good. Good question. Listen for the warble. That's what I always say, yeah. Is this live stream just about tuning guitars? Roland, no. For the first, no. At this point, we're in the Q&A portion. So whatever it is that you have a question about, Roland, I'll answer it. The second hour, though, is going to be about playing by ear. Okay, so the first part here, I'd like to do a little lesson for you. I'm guiding folks through the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, which is the free program that I'm giving you guys today, the second link below. I've seen people use graphite from a pencil on the nut. Yes, I do. I also use something called big bends. Big bends? I think like bends, like bending a string. Nut sauce, N-U-T, and sauce. And it's a graphite mixed with some sort of like, maybe like Vaseline or something. I don't know. But it works really well. Great question. Morsemi is saying, why are my strings in tune on the open but not on the 12th fret? That means your intonation is out. I-N-T-O-N, A-T-I-O-N. Intonation. Your intonation's out. There's videos on YouTube about this. I suggest taking it to a luthier to take care of this for you, but it has to do with the distance between the nut and your saddle. Okay? Yes. That's funny. Okay. Tusk nut does wonders. Yeah, I have some guitars with a tusk nut, yeah. And they do, they work really well. Eric, how or what do I look for when it's time to replace my strings? Gary, look, put some 9s on your guitar, 9 through 42. And just look for, if it's an electric, then I should say if it's an electric guitar, try 9s through 42. Try that and see if that works for you. That's a good gauge. A good kind of middle of the road gauge for you. A little bit slightly lighter. And if it's acoustic, make sure you get acoustic strings, and then you'll want thicker strings than that. But don't get too hung up on strings. Strings, especially for beginners, aren't going to make much of a difference for you. Later on, when you've been playing for a long time, they may mean a little bit more to you, but usually in the beginning, not. How does a tusk nut compare to bone? They're amazing. Many people say they even sound better. Doug, well, welcome to the UGS family, Doug. Just bought Lifetime Pro, thanks. Hope to end perpetual beginner status. Do I do 365 or UGS first? Doug, I've got a video for that on YouTube. Search UGS 365 and I'll answer that question. But you do them at the same time. Think about the Unstoppable Guitar System as daily lessons where I'm teaching things like tuning, where I'm talking about borrowed chords, or I'm talking about minimalistic blues. We're showing you how to use a scale. Whereas 365 is a daily workout for you. 7 different days, seven different days of the week, 7 different subjects. We start on week 1 and we ramp it up 52 times over the year by embellishing it, making it a little bit harder, a little bit more challenging. By the end of it, you're raging in these 7 different areas of guitar, all the different areas of guitar that you need to be proficient in. That's what 365 is about. So you can do both for sure. Which Led Zeppelin songs do you recommend youngsters to learn? A Whole Lot of Love is a pretty easy one. I would suggest that. And I keep muting the 2nd string while playing a C chord. Any tips to muting the 2nd string? Yes. If I just gave you the answer here, I'd have to spend 20 minutes with you, and it still won't be a sufficient answer. You've got to get inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard because I guide you through that. And there's several videos that are going to get you to that point, not just one even 20-minute answer here, okay? And I obviously can't take 20 minutes per question. So do that. Get into UGS Standard. It's the 2nd link below. I'll help you with that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm trying to learn Fire on the Mountain. Can you give some advice on memorizing the Mixolydian scale and moving between the 1, 3, 5 on A and B chords? That's a lot. That's a big question right there. But if you want to know the Mixolydian scale, it's the major scale with a flatted 7. Here's A major. Mixolydian, you drop the 7 down a half step. Okay. Michael, thank you so much. Michael Salters, thanks so much for the donation, friend. You are amazing. Thanks, bud. Really kind. Nylon or steel strings? Depends on what you like, Julie. Apples or oranges? Which one's better, apple or an orange? There's literally some people that would answer that. Well, the apple's better. That's a duh. Everybody knows that. There's people that will answer that. As opposed to it possibly just being a favorite for you, right? Good. Rob, 365 is fantastic in week 4 and enjoying it every night. Good. 365 is calisthenics for your fingers and brain. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Exactly. What's up, Big Hobo Daddy? Struggling with palm muting. Any tips? Albert. I have a video for it on YouTube. Search palm muting or muting on YouTube. But essentially what you want to do is you just want to get whatever riff it is that you're working on, maybe like the boogie woogie, right? Blues boogie woogie or anything. I have videos for that on YouTube. But just whatever it is that you're practicing. And what you want to do is put your hand right there on the bridge where you can feel it. And then you want to move it towards the nut and away from the nut until you find a sweet spot. Then practice that. So it's not going to feel right for you until you've done it enough times. It just won't. Got to do it enough times. Which is kinder to the fingers? That's okay. Thank you, Julie. Now you're getting specific. Friends, if you want the right answer, get real specific with me. These really broad, I don't mind you asking the question, you can, but you're wasting your time as well as mine. Get real specific about what it is you're talking about. See how Julie said, which is kinder to the fingers? Now we're talking, you know. If someone says, what's better, an apple or an orange? I'd say, well, what are we talking about? Are we talking about for vitamin C? Are we talking about for teeth health? Are we talking about taste for me? Are we talking about price? I mean, what's our comparison? So we have to have something. So in this case here, what's kinder to the fingers? Nylon strings is always kinder to the fingers. That one can't be argued. It's just, you know. Ha! Jason Carter. That's funny. Kinder. Yeah, everybody's saying, yeah, nylon for sure. Yes, definitely. And so that's why a lot of times I will start, if back in the day when I had kids coming to me for lessons, I don't have anybody coming to me for lessons anymore because I do everything online, but when I'd have a parent bring like a 5 years old, I'd be like, ugh, okay, this is going to be fun. It's fine. I love teaching kids, but I'd always start them off with nylon string guitar, and then I starting them off on nylon string, well, on a ukulele, which is nylon string, because it's so much easier and they could start playing pretty much right away. Oh, thank you, Greg. He's a cute guy. Greg is 30 minutes behind. What's up, yeah, PH? What's up? Please explain keys. Keys are a central note that all the other notes and all the other chords revolve around. Think about the solar system and the sun's in the center of it and all the other planets revolve around it. You can think about those other notes as being the other notes in the scale, and you can think about the key or the tonal centers being the sun. Now, I don't know much other than what they've taught us in books, but they say the sun's in the center of the solar system. I believe it. I have no reason not to. So it's in the center of the solar system. So, but if you go outside and you look, you can't really tell, right? This is why we thought the Earth was in the center of the solar system for so long, because no one was really checking. But then with science, through science, they're able to check this stuff, right? So in the same way, you may not be able to recognize a tonal center, but it's always been there. Okay, there's always been a tonal center. Again, this is what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about this in the second hour, is that we're talking about the tonal center. We're talking about playing by ear. It's not so much that your ear is learning or something like that. What's happening is we're applying concepts that I can say, okay, you hear that? That is a minor chord. And you go, oh, I can hear the difference now, right? So, for instance, if that doesn't make sense to you, think about this. Take a child and I say, hey, this is sweet, and I give them something sweet. I say, this is hot, and I give them a little pepper, and they're like, ooh, that's hot. I give them something bitter, and then I'm like, this is bitter. And so they're learning these different sensations while they're tasting. So the same way with your ears, if I show you this stuff, you're going to be like, oh, that's that sound that I've always heard that I had no label for. Now you put a label on it, and now you can move these pieces around. You can understand music theory like that. But you do have to be shown it in some way or figure it out yourself, for sure. Okay? So Rafid, a tonal center is the key. So what I just said, yes. Oh, Mark, SR, thanks for the donation, brother. Yeah. We used to have like confetti and stuff when we were in the studio. Way back when. We'll do it again. We'll do it again soon. Oh, so kind. Thanks, my friend. If you're wondering what that little flashing thing in the bottom left-hand corner is, that's how folks are donating. So beautiful. Super kind. Mark, very cool. Hey, Eric, I start beginners on a 3/4 Cordoba Protege guitars with nylon strings. Can you recommend a good 3/4 when they are ready for steel strings? Sandy. Oh, so she's a guitar teacher. Nice, Sandy. Welcome. Love that. Okay, Sandy. Yeah, a Taylor, a baby Taylor. Do I have one in here? I don't. I have three of them in the house here, though. I have two baby Taylors and then a Martin between me and my wife. So yeah, baby Taylor is great for that. They're real dinky. They're super fun to play, even as an adult. I love them. John, how do you borrow chords from another key? Well, John Thomas, first you have to know what chords are standard in diatonic harmony. I go over all of that stuff inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System standard, right? We got to know what those chords are. You got to understand that basic bit first. Write this down, John, or anybody else who wants to know this. The basic chords in any major key, every major key, when we're talking diatonic harmony, are major 1, minor 2, minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, diminished 7, and then back to your major 1. When we borrow a chord or play anything other than those, we're essentially borrowing a chord from another key. Now, I have whole videos on this, so search YourGuitarSage borrowed chords, because I go over like all the fun songs that you know. Okay, and I do this, I have a whole course for this inside of UGS, where I evaluate all these really amazing songs that you know and love, like Hey Ya, um, bu- 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 House of the Rising Sun, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, a ton of great stuff, okay? I'm seeing some yeses there, some folks that have already gone through this. But on YouTube, just search Your Guitar Sage Borrowed, and I'll show you more about this. But essentially, we're pulling a chord that isn't normally in diatonic harmony, and we're putting it, we're kind of wedging it into the song, if you will. It's also called a transmutation or a modal interchange. Essentially, what we're doing is, for that chord or chords, we're changing the key for that moment. We usually have to get back to the key if we want it to sound legit, okay? Audio is a bit gritty. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know. If many of you are hearing that, it's probably on my side. Oh, I'm just hearing that. Oh, okay, from a couple people. Okay, so sorry. I don't know what's going on. Oh, it's okay. Maybe it's not me. So it's something to do with YouTube. Okay. Love this community so much. You guys rock. I agree, Roy. Thank you so much. I love this community too. We got a lot of winners in here. A lot of folks that get it. They understand that it takes hard work. And if they don't, that means they're probably just new, and in short time they're going to get it. That literally anything that you want to do on this instrument, friends, literally anything that you want to do, you can do, but not without the work. I saw somebody say the other day, "You're just doing that to sell courses." No, I'm not, Jackrabbit. I'm doing that because that's the truth. If you don't know that, then you're listening to the wrong people, right? You need to understand that when you apply yourself, if something takes 1,000 steps, if Mount Everest takes 50, I don't know, how many steps would it take? Millions probably to get up to the top, right? People say, well, you can't do that. Yes, of course you can. Not if you quit, not if you're a quitter and you got a quitter attitude and you got a loser attitude, then yeah, probably not. I ain't following you then if you got that attitude. But if you follow step one and then you do step two and then you do step three, literally like these steps, then as long as you don't stop, then you can get up to the top. Many people have proven this already, okay? There's a reason they call learning a journey, learning guitar a journey, right? And it seems for some people that they just want it like that. And I hate that for people like that, because all the wishing in the world's not going to get them there. And then maybe one day they're going to realize, oh, wow, if I had only applied myself, that this would have been a possibility for me. Hopefully it's not on their deathbed. Hopefully it's earlier than that. Jackrabbit, very polite. Oh, I'm trying to muzzle myself a little. Thank you, Rich. I'm unable to open the PDF. Casey, that's on your end because everybody's opening this. So your PDF reader is broken. I would update your browser or download PDF Reader from adobe.com. Everyone wants to play lead guitar like Angus Young now. Yes, and everybody wants to look like Adonis, right? Everybody wants to have this great body, but not everybody is willing to put in the work. This is what makes life so cool, is that if you're one of those winners who understands that, then you get to be the one who looks like Adonis. You're the one who gets to rip on the guitar, be successful at anything that you want to do if you apply yourself. Otherwise, look, if everybody just could be great overnight and everybody could have a great body overnight, then everybody would have a great body and it wouldn't be a big deal. But because, I say this in one of my books, if gold were right out in your backyard and you just had to scratch the surface and grab it, it obviously wouldn't be worth what it's worth. The whole reason that it's worth so much is it's hard to find, it's hard to get, it's hard to attain, there's not a lot of it, etc., etc. It's just one of those principles in the world. Jez, thanks so much for the kind donation, buddy. Nunya, it's not about that. It's not about, you don't have to sign up for UGS free. You don't have to do that. Like literally, you can just click on that very first link and get that PDF. If he's not getting that, that's because he needs to update his browser. There's something with his system that's not right. How to practice hybrid picking. I have started the Master the Blues course at UGS. Loving it. Francisco, I wouldn't worry about hybrid picking unless you have hybrid picking licks that you want to do. Now, sometimes I'll throw in hybrid picking just because it's more out of convenience. So if I go, I'm hitting that. You know, I'm picking like that. Pick, 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 and then this finger. Otherwise, if you're doing like country picking and that sort of thing, you can almost always do everything with your pick, but there are some licks that do work better with hybrid picking. So if you want to get good at hybrid picking, keep the pick between your thumb and your first finger, and then you pick with your second and third finger. So just practice your licks like that. There's not really, how to practice it is you practice it. There's not much to think about there, really. It's just use those other fingers should you need them. But I would suggest, oh, Rich, thanks so much for the donation, buddy. Beautiful, thank you. I've been freeloading long enough. Here's some money. Thank you, Rich. What a great attitude. Super kind, bud. Thank you. I've been freeloading. That's nice. Stephen, quick demo on vibrato while bending. Yes. Now, Stephen, and I've said this to other folks before, sometimes you can have somebody tell you about something and you'll get it, right? Like if I say, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and you can get that. That's a concept that we can do in the air, I can do, and you can visually see it and get it. But if I was describing chocolate to you, you could just listen to me talk about chocolate and never really even come close to getting an idea of what chocolate actually tastes like, or you can try some chocolate. So when it comes to bending while doing vibrato, you can watch me do it, and it's probably not going to help you because you're going to go to do it and it's not going to sound right. So that's where practice comes in. That's where you guiding yourself, grabbing the wheel of your life and saying, this is where I want to go. And with that intention, right? Joe Dispenza talks about this all the time. If you don't know Joe Dispenza, look him up. That guy will change your life, man. Talk about rewiring your brain. He says we're 95% of who we are by the age of 35. And if you don't intentionally rewire your brain through meditation, through specific types of thinking and what have you, but it's a discipline like this or anything else, then you're not going to be able to do it. Okay, so you'll just keep doing what you're doing for the rest of your life. You can keep hoping, and then maybe that'll make you feel good in the moment, but that's not going to change it. I say this because I love you, because I'd love to see everybody have these revelations and live beautiful, happy lives. If I never picked up a guitar again and I could help people live happy lives, I would be totally happy. That's what I want to do. It's just I kind of know guitar a little bit, so I can help people to play guitar. David, thanks so much for the kind donation and your namaste avocado. I think that's an avocado, I'm pretty sure. I love Joe Dispenza, M. Burner. Of course you do, M. Burner, because you're burned, because you lit. That's right. Eric, best pickups for Telly, Les Paul, SG Strat, single, dummies, P90s. John, it's personal preference. One artist is going to like a thin brush, another one's going to like a thick brush. Everybody's different, so you have to know what it is that you like. You have to know, what does your amp sound like? What do your pedals sound like? So you can start curtailing your sound with that. But there is no best. There truly is not. Ken, Joe Dispenza, M. Burner, 2 comments above you. He spelled it out there. Dispenza, D-I-S-P-E-N-S-A. Amazing. Amazing dude. It's like a Tony Robbins type, except he focuses on one specific thing, whereas Tony is like a broker of all these different technologies. He would go get Joe Dispenza and bring him to a seminar and have him teach on that thing, right? Joe is all about rewiring your brain, and it is fascinating, beautiful stuff. Absolutely amazing. What does the thin and thick brush even mean in pickups? Amber, what I mean by that is you're Amber and I'm Eric. And Amber lives in a different country, in a different city, and she has different tastes of music. And so if she were to go paint today, she might pick one paintbrush. And Eric in another city who grew up a different way is going to pick up a different paintbrush. And maybe we play the same paintbrush, but maybe we don't. This is why I play a Strat, and there's other people that say, Strats are crap, I hate Strats, Gibson all the way. And then there are people who hate Gibsons, but they like Strats. So what I mean by that is they are different tastes, and for someone to say that this pickup is better than another will show their small-mindedness, because there's no such thing as a better color or a better fruit. Now, if we're saying better for vitamin C, that might be quantifiable. It has to be something you can quantify, is what I'm saying, Amber. And when we're talking about things that are subjective, those aren't quantifiable, right? We're talking about, you can say that this brush is thicker than a thinner brush, but like you can't say it's better. It can only be better for what you like. Does that make sense? Yes, personal taste. Jim Mangoes, speaking of mangoes, I love mangoes. Jim Mangoes, thank you so much. I had to watch the last 2 days in the evening. Live is much better. Yeah, and I'm so glad you're here, Jim. Thank you very much. So kind, bud. You mentioned a free place to get downloadable tabs a few days ago. I forgot to write it down. Can you mention it again? Yeah, it's ultimate-guitar.com. Ultimate-guitar.com. So is it just a different manufacturer? Since when do pickups have brushes? I thought they consist of magnets and copper. You're kidding now, Amber, right? Now you're messing with me, right? Yeah, they don't have brushes. It's a metaphor, an example. Okay. How do we donate money? Mason, thank you, buddy. Bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a smiley face, and next to that, you'll see the little dollar symbol there. If you click on that, you can donate. Thank you, bud. How do I feel about lace pickups? I've played them before. I think they sound fine. I tell you what, this is what I think about different strings and different pickups and what have you. I can listen, I can go, yeah, that sounds good. I could use that for this or that. So it's kind of like different ingredients in the kitchen. You would use different ingredients for different things. So I don't think about them as better or worse or anything. You just think about them like ingredients. One day I'll use tarragon, the next day I'll use garlic, right? So they're spices, if you will. That's how to think about that stuff. Let's think about them as spices. Not only will that help you to not be like so framed in, but will also help you to be freer and to not be worried about each one of these little things. And you just play guitar, and then you'll discover this stuff as you go on further and further, okay? Eric, noticed coil pickups are set under the string a different level. So 8, the adjustable. I'm not sure what you mean by that. The pickups are coiled. They have coils that are wrapped around, and many are adjustable where you got this little screw here. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes you have individual screws, right? Like on certain pickups you have individual screws, like on PAFs, patent applied fors, Gibson. You can adjust each individual screw. Yeah. Great questions. How many of you people are holding and messing with the guitar during the broadcast, or at least holding a pick? Yes, as much as possible you can do that is better. Can you mention the guy's name who would rewire my brain? Again, please. Yeah, he's got shows on Gaia. He's got lots of videos for free on YouTube. Joe Dispenza. Despenza. Joe Dispenza. He's amazing. He's got meditations and all the rest. He's absolutely amazing. Okay. Scooby Stapp. I wish I could afford 10 different guitars and all different pickups so I could have a variety of tone. If you want such a guitar, there is one. It's called a Variax, and you can get the first version of it for pretty cheap on eBay. A Variax. I have a couple different versions of it, and or I actually gave one of them away. And I'm gonna look right here and see if there is one here. Yeah. So they have these. I'm looking at them literally on YouTube right now for 600, 700. They're probably only getting about 500 for them, would be my guess. Here's one for less than $500. It's called a Variax, Variax. And this guitar mimics, it models, just like my Kemper amp does, many, many different guitars. Is it like having 25 other guitars? Because that's what it does. It mimics 25 different guitars, including acoustics, 12 strings, Rickenbackers, Fenders, Gibsons, etc., etc. And it does it with a lot of accuracy. It's pretty cool. Is it exactly like owning all those 12, 25 different guitars, Eric? Of course not. But it's pretty cool, and it will educate you in understanding what those different sounds do without having to go out and buy all these guitars. Pretty cool, right? Variax, Variax. It's made by Line 6. I own one now. I don't use it very often because I have the real things, so I don't use them very often. But there's tons of guitars that guitar mimics that I don't have. But I still don't just go to them a lot of times, you know what I mean? Mason Barker, thanks for the donation, brother. Little guy looking in the mirror. That's funny. Okay. Okay, Eric, not sure this was discussed. Can you show how not to sound monotonous while playing a scale? I mean, how to bring a melody while playing a scale. Avinish, search YourGuitarSage minimalistic. Watch that video about 50 times. Do what it says. It will fix your problem. If wishes were horses, then beggars would ride. Ha! I like that. All right. Sandy Lee, do I ever do Zoom? No, I don't, because I can reach so many people like this. If I was doing individual lessons, I would have to charge a lot of money. A lot of money, because I don't have a lot of time. So if I opened it up for a real cheap price, then I would have way less time. Does that make sense? So I would have to charge a lot of money. Uh-oh, I can hear my boy up there. He is not agreeing with Mama. Ooh, he's mad. Woo. Lord Barris, oh, thank you so much, bud. I've been freeloading as well. Thank you for your high-quality lessons, and also thank you for spreading the love and positivity. What does the world need with another good musician? The world needs good people. Victor Wooten. Oh, did Victor Wooten say that? Did I tell you that Victor Wooten was at my very first gig in 1990 here in Nashville? He's at about 5 feet in front of me. Victor Wooten, I think his brother, right? The drummer. I love that, right? What does the world need with another good musician? I love that. But the world does need good people. It needs kindness. It needs love. And when I find myself going to play guitar, I love it. It moves me so much. But at the end of the day, when I'm on my deathbed, I'm not going to be thinking about which scales or how much I didn't practice and what have you. I shouldn't be saying that because I want you guys to practice. But kindness is pretty important too. I love that. Thank you, Lord. Lord Barris. Thank you, bud. So kind of you. And if you're, yeah, Future Man is the percussionist. Yeah. So I see those guys around, or I used to see them a lot more around Nashville back in the day when I lived downtown. I don't live downtown anymore, but I would run into those guys all the time. Not that we were buds or anything, but I would see them, you know. Future Man, yes. Someone's asking how to donate. Bottom left-hand corner of the screen, next to the smiley face, you'll see a dollar symbol there. You can click there. 4 minutes, we're going to go into the pro lesson, all right? The intermediate to pro lesson, where we're going to be talking about playing by ear. You do not want to miss this. Beginners, you're going to get a lot out of this too, okay? We'll get into some advanced stuff, but we'll start with the easy stuff and then we'll move further, okay? Oh, thank you, Mark. Beautiful. Eric, any plans for a 30th live stream day party? We should think of something. Ooh, I agree. Let me know what you guys come up with. Let me know, seriously. Maybe we could do something fun. I don't know, but I would like to, okay? That'd be great. Yeah, Victor Wooten seems like a really cool dude. MSG, I don't know who Nick is. Nick Drake. I don't know who that is. I apologize. On the diatonic PDF, when filling out the notes, you say, very important to memorize your fretboard. I can't readily fill out the notes on the PDF, but it seems daunting to memorize the entire fretboard. I know, James. And here's the deal. I use that word loosely, memorize, because we're not really memorizing. Let me explain this. I say it. I've never counted to 1,000,000,000, but I know I could do it, even though I don't have these things memorized. You could too. Have you ever counted to 1,000? I haven't. But I'm pretty sure you could count to 1,000. I could too. But the reason that we know we can is because there is a system for doing this. This is how I teach all my stuff, so you don't have to memorize anything, and eventually it becomes part of you. And when it comes to knowing the notes, we don't really truly memorize them. Neither does Steve Vai, neither does any of the greatest guitar players in the world. There's no memorizing. And I can prove this, because if I said to Steve Vai, if I said, hey, Steve, what fret is this? What's the name of this note? In fact, for any of you, well, I just gave it away, right? Okay, so here we go. Here you go. Watch this. What's the name of this note? For all of you that have your guitar memorized, for those that don't agree with me that Steve Vai has his guitar memorized, what note is that right there? And I just kind of gave it away again. I'm showing you too much of the guitar. Do it again. Showing too much of the guitar. Right there. What note is this? Would you know? No, you don't know. Do you know why? Because it looks like this note. Because it looks like this note. Because there's no difference. Because we need this. We need perspective. Does that make sense? We need perspective to know where we're at on the fretboard. If I give you a map, if I give you a globe and I say, there's all the information that you need, now find your way home. Number one, it's going to be too big of a perspective, right? But number two, let's say it was a really high definition map of exactly the place, the area where you are trying to navigate, but you don't know where you are. Well, then how the heck are you going to read that map, right? For some of you, the lights are going on. For others of you, it's not. But you get what I'm saying? If you don't know where you're at, how do you know where you're going? I know that's kind of overused or whatever, but it's just 100% true. So in the same way here, you have to know, in order to do this, you got to know the names of the open strings. You got to know that the musical alphabet goes from A to G, and all notes have sharps except for B and E. Once you do that and you follow those 3 steps and you write that down a few times, you'll get what I'm saying. And then when you stack on top the springboards and all the other tricks that I have, then all of a sudden now you're getting it. Does that make sense? That's how the pros have done it since the beginning of time, right? Let's have a sweepstake for when Eric talks about the bear in the tree. Oh, I'll say it again somewhere here. Come on, Steve I would know. I know. And we would think that it's like that, but he's not even, look, Steve Vai's not thinking about notes while he's playing. You know, he's not like C sharp, D, E, F, G. He's not doing that. He's just playing. He's got, Joe Dispenza will tell you this too. When you do something and it becomes a habit, right? A habit, like, it doesn't matter what it is. Let's say you brush your teeth with your right hand every single day. That you've developed the habit of doing that. Well, it's not that your brain's like, I'm gonna brush my teeth. Now, which hand is it again? Oh yeah, it's the right hand. I know what I'm doing. You don't even think about it because this is hardwired into your body. Now you just pick up the toothbrush and you start brushing your teeth in the morning. And in the same way, Steve Vai or me or any player out there who's been playing for a little bit, it's almost, not almost, it's like it is, everything is hardwired into your body, right? And the only way to unhardwire it is you have to particularly go outside of that. In this case here, we don't want to unhardwire that, but they're not memorizing the note. They just are they're very quick at this, okay? Just got another donation from Joe Davidson. Joe, thank you, buddy. No more freeloading for me either. I'm a UGS Pro member already, but Eric deserves more. Oh, John, thank you, man. And the staff, the UGS staff, thanks you. I should say the YGS staff, thank you, bud. That's really kind. Thank you, bud. How long do I have to practice every day? Alex, you don't have to practice. That's the thing. You can play video games, you could binge TV and never practice at all. So, so don't practice. Now, if you want to be good, then you should practice. and only practice for as good as you want to be. So if you're fine with mediocrity, then don't practice that much. But if you want to be a badass guitar player, then don't ask the question, how long do I have to practice? Ask, how long can I practice? And practice that much. If it's 15 hours a day, then do that. You will be as good as you practice, as much as you practice. You will suck for as little as you practice. It's just real basic math. All right, friends, we're at that 12 o'clock mark. We're getting into the advanced lesson, shall we? Let's go. All right, so as per every day here, I'm live with you for 2 hours every day from 11 to 1 p.m. Number one, thanks so much for that donation, Jeff. Vets love you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate that, man. Truly, 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 truly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings. If that works, then blessings to you. I think it does. I really do. 30-day guitar challenge. Takes 21 to 30 days to develop a habit. That's what we're doing here for 2 hours every day. First hour is a beginner lesson, second hour is an advanced lesson. So some folks just joined us, and some folks probably just dropped off for the beginner part and now the advanced part. And so for this advanced part today, we're going to be talking about how to play by ear, okay? This is how to do it. Here we go. If you haven't already, only if you haven't, hit thumbs up, okay? If you have, don't hit thumbs up because you'll negate the first one. Hit thumbs up if you would. Share this video with a friend by hitting that share button. I'll wait for you. Go on. Do it right now. Go on. Someone's going to pee right now. Don't do that. Hit the share button. Okay? Good. And subscribe if you like that. Okay? Beautiful. Alrighty. Here we go. Playing by ear. Let's talk about it. I've said it a few times, but for those that are new, if I show the Mona Lisa to my child when he's an infant, when he's a baby, if I show it to him as a baby, and then I show an artist Mona Lisa, someone who's been painting for decades, and they look at that, they are looking at the exact same painting. They see the exact same colors, they see the exact same shapes, they see everything the exact same way. We say things like, well, they see it differently. They don't see it any differently, okay? They're seeing it the exact same way. And think about this. Think about politics or anything like that. People are all seeing it the same way. But the way their filters that they grew up with and what have you, or their experiences or anything that is external ends up creating filters for them. So for an infant who has never painted before, the Mona Lisa is just going to probably look like a blob of colors, maybe a little bit like a face, right? But for somebody who is really involved in graphic art, then they're going to see nuances in there that, and there I even said it, and that's the wrong word. They're going to notice nuances in there that child didn't. An infant is going to hear a symphony in the same way that a conductor for 50 years has. Okay, they're going to hear all the same notes, they're going to hear the same chords, it will be in the same key, the tempo won't be any different, etc., etc. Gene, thanks so much for the donation. Already pro, but but a vet, but here's some money. Beautiful, thank you so much. And Carla, thank you, so sweet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Does that make sense? So we're hearing the exact same thing. Now, for you, that's great, 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 great news. Why? Because think of you as the infant. You're like, well, okay, yeah, that's true for the infant, but what about me? I'm an adult. Yeah, no, you're an infant in your thinking or you're playing, not bringing you down. I'm saying, like, if you're new to music or wherever you're at, it's on a spectrum of understanding about what you're hearing. So the great news is this. Guess what? It's all learned. Guitar is learned. Accounting is learned. Bowling is learned. Tennis is learned. Singing is learned. Playing by ear is learned. It's just that you've been programmed so much to think that, oh, he's an ear player. Oh, wow, how lucky him. Lucky guy. He was probably playing at 1 year old. No, nobody was playing at 1 year old. It took time for them to develop that ear. Some, maybe faster than others, but nonetheless, the good news is you can learn all this stuff because, as I say, 90% of what you hear with your ear, and I want to up it more, but it's going to sound too unrealistic. 90% of what it is playing by ear has to do with not you hearing. You got to hear something, right? But it's what you're interpreting, what it is that you're hearing. You're hearing tonal centers, you're hearing major chords and minor chords and diminished chords. You are, but you don't know that. You don't know the labels to go with it, right? Birds could be flying past you, all different types of birds. You could, if you were a birdologist or whatever, somebody who studies birds is, you could name the birds, but if you didn't know the names of the birds would look the same. They're the same birds, okay? So with that being said, let's go ahead and understand this a little bit. Very first, very easily from melodies, okay? I tell a story all the time that I started playing guitar. Yeah, we're on a bird tangent. I started playing guitar because I had a one-string guitar and I loved the sound of the guitar. And I would hear a melody and then I would pick it out. Much like you could do right now. Let's try an experiment. You ready? I'm gonna hum a note. I want you to find that on your guitar. Now you hum it. You need to grab that note from me. Start humming it. Like literally do this with me right now, please. It won't work if you don't do it. My son says all the time when hugging, he'll say, doesn't count if you don't hug back. You got that from a movie. Doesn't count if you don't hug back, but nonetheless. Look, everybody's saying G. Oh, look, what a bunch of friggin' ninjas here. Somebody said G sharp. Their guitar's slightly out of tune. Larry. But there you go, G. Beautiful. Look at you guys. All right, let's do this one. Find that note. But first you hum it. Somebody said a B. Yeah, look at all the B's coming up. Look, friends, this is not a magic trick, okay? Look at all the folks that are writing B right now, okay? That's because they were born with this. No, it's because they heard the same B as an infant, but they didn't have the tools. They didn't have the bit here that I'm talking about where you can find that note, okay? So beautiful. Thank you so much for B-E-E. Thank you so much for doing that experiment with me. So in the same way that we can find an individual note, finding a melody is just more steps walking up the mountain. That's all it is. In fact, you've done the hard part and you found the very first note. Because if I said, I'm gonna look for that note. What note is that? It's a D, okay? So, now if I find that very first note, okay? Maybe I was singing slightly sharp or something, I apologize. Well, same guy saying C all the time. So yeah, D, it's a D. Now, that's the hard part, is finding that note. But if I went, do this yourself. Think about steps. We think about going higher or lower. You use your hand, right? This is just general ideas, right? This isn't very scientific, but it's basic ideas up and down, okay? Yay, beautiful, Marco, because UGS is how I knew it, was B. Aha, nice, Marco. Thank you, bud. So, now, I'm able to just pull off that melody really quick. Number one, I've done it a few times. But also, even if I hadn't done that, I would have assumed that the very first note was the tonic and that I would be playing through the major scale. Or I would use some sort of pattern from the major scale, because the pattern of the major scale makes up 99% of all the music that you know and you love since the beginning of time to the end of time. Amen. So now we have a measuring stick that we can measure stuff with, right? If you're a carpenter and one guy's using metric and another guy's using US standard or whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called, the King's measurement or whatever, and you say, measure 5 for me, and one guy comes back with 5 inches, another guy comes back with 5 millimeters, that's not good, right? So we need a standard to stay by, and that is what we call the major scale. Diatonic harmony is that harmony which is built off of the major scale. Harmony is when we stack one note on top of another note. Like this. Right? Right? That sort of thing. So, that being said, we start with finding a note. And when you want to find a note, which, by the way, I've got videos for this on YouTube. Search Your Guitar Sage ear, and I'll walk you through it, okay? But if I say, when I'm looking for a note, I hum it loud and proud, and then I search for it on one string using half steps, going in the direction that I think I'm going. Don't skip to different strings, and don't skip notes. If you dropped your wedding ring in a field, you're going to go, wait a minute, everybody, I dropped my ring. And you're going to stay right there and you're going to search right there, or your contact. You're not going to go, wait a minute, I dropped my contact, and then run into the other room, and then run upstairs, and then run down to the basement and not run in the front yard. And you're not going to look like that. That's goofy. So don't do that with notes. Move in half steps, because you're gonna through a process of elimination find out what you're looking for. But if you're jumping all over the place, it's going to be a mess. You find your first note, that's your note, you hold on to that, and then you play your melody. Let me recognize this super kind donation here from Gene. I've enjoyed this 30-day challenge so much. A little review, learn some new, and some over my head for now. Thanks to Eric and staff, UGS Pro member, great program. Yay, thank you so much, Gene. And that's what this thing is all about, friends, is that some folks, some of this stuff's going to be over their head. Other folks are going to go, that stuff's going to be over my head. And then they're going to be hit straight in the head with something that they hadn't learned before. And they're going to be going, oh, crap, I guess I don't know everything. No, you don't. Neither do I. If I don't, and I've been doing this for 30-something years, you probably don't too. I don't care how long you've been playing, even if it's been more than me. We always learn. It doesn't matter what we're doing, we're always learning. It's just a concept. It's not putting you down, it's just we can always learn. So there's always something to learn. And a lot of times with guitar, people aren't taught properly like I teach in my system. They are taught a song, or this particular guitar teacher who doesn't really want to be teaching, they want to be playing. I love teaching. I love playing too, but I love teaching. And then so they're just teaching stuff that they want to know, and they're skipping the stuff they don't want to know because they don't have the time. They feel like they don't have the time for it, or they're bored of it, right? So in the same way, there's a lot of stuff left on the table. So we're on a spectrum of what we know, and sometimes we're going to miss things. So if you're going to start in UGS, start UGS Standard, the second link below. Go through each one of those videos. I don't care if you've been playing for longer than me. Go through them. I promise you're going to learn stuff, and probably you're going to learn stuff that is messing. What's the stuff that's messing you up now is the stuff that you left on the table. That's why it's messing up for you. You know. Okay, so you can find that one note, then you can find the melody like that. Then we learn things like chord structure, right? We learn that, okay, the major scale, we learn the major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So we can find out what the tonal center is. And then we find out that the chords have a certain combo too. So a major 1, minor 2, major 4, no, sorry. Major 1, minor 2, minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, diminished 7, back to our 1. And so once we learn that these chords have certain flavors that appear 99% of the time, then if we're listening to our favorite songs, then there's a good chance that those chords are going to match this. Now, not all the time, but if you were to analyze a million popular songs out there, you're going to find that 99% of the chords that are played will fit into this, and maybe like 1% are going to be borrowed or from some other key or something like that. I address that, okay? And I'm saying that right out front. So understand that. But I'm saying most of the time, right? Most of the time when you drive your car, you won't get in an accident. Most of the time. I've been in probably 5 accidents, 6, 7 accidents in my life. But most of the time when I drive my car, I don't get in an accident. Most of the time. Get it? So let's go on what we know the most of the time. Let's not be scared that that one time we got in an accident in 1973 and not get in the car anymore, right? So in the same way here, let's go with what we know. Pareto's rule. 20% of the right stuff, knowing that stuff is going to yield 80% of the volume of what it is you're able to do. Okay. So we learn basic things like the scales. We learn things like the chordal structures, and then when we're hearing a song, once we know the tonal center, somebody said, "Hey, the tonal center for this song is this note right here." Right? Now watch this. This is for folks that understand the concepts here of what I'm talking about. This is for folks that are in UGS or folks that just know this in general. But watch this. Here is this note here, right? By the way, this is the don't even put any answers yet until I tell you, okay, if you would. I'm picking this note. I don't know what note this is, right? It's on the low E string and I'm at the 5th fret. I'm playing that note. Let's say that's my tonal center and the song sounds really happy, right? But this is my tonal center, right? I got this kind of sound to it. That's my tonal center. But I hear the bass note is this. Would this chord be major or minor? Okay, now watch. For those folks that are like, I have no idea, how would you know that? Well, watch these super smart folks in the chat here. Watch them get this. And it's not because we're so smart, it's just that we've learned how to do this, all right? We've learned how to use some basic theory, okay? My tonal key, my key is this, but I hear this bass note, and I'm saying, well, I wonder what chord that is gonna be with that bass note. Anybody know? It's major. L.A. Derman is saying it's major. Anybody else? Any guesses? I got my ring. It's right here. Okay, only one of you got it. Okay, and here we go. Wolverine got it. Okay, D, right. But D major. James got it, right? So now we're getting it. Okay, now let me ask you this. Let's say we went up to the 5th. What chord would that be? Right? We know it would be major because it's the 5, okay? Makes sense? So we know this just because we know the patterns, but if you didn't know this stuff, then you're not going to be able to just grab these chords out of the air. Someone might go, well, it could be a major, minor, diminished, 7th, 13th. It could be an A sharp, it could be an A flat, it could be, I don't know. So they get confused because of all the possibilities, because yes, there are thousands of chords on the guitar, but when we find the tonal center, which is paramount, everybody does this, whether they know the music theory, whether they even call it music theory or not. They know patterns, so they know music theory, but they just don't call it music theory. So somebody is intelligent as a musician, not talking about his politics or anything like that, but Dave Grohl, somebody as intelligent as a musician as him, he'll say, I don't know music theory. You know music theory, Dave Grohl. You know music theory. You just don't know that you know music theory. You don't know that about the labels, okay? And Dave is an amazing player. But he knows music theory, for sure. Number one, it's cooler to say you don't know music theory and you're just getting information from the above or whatever. But he knows music theory for sure. Because I would prove it. And I'd say, let me have your guitar and let me tune it. It'll be in tune, but the strings aren't going to be standard tuning. So then you're just going to play by ear, Dave. And he's going to be like, well, no, it needs to be standard tuning. Oh, wait a minute. So you need structure? You mean you need structure so that all the patterns are the same place? Yeah, but I don't know any scales. They're just patterns. Oh, patterns, you mean scales, right? Well, maybe so. Maybe they are scales. Okay, cool. Then you mean scales that have specific patterns that have to do with music theory. Make sense? So, and I love Dave. I'm not trashing Dave. I'm just saying I hear people say that sometimes, and it just means that they don't know what they don't know. That's all. Okay, Dave's a better musician than me any day of the week, but he doesn't know what he doesn't know in regards to that. And there's tons of people that will say this too. Tons of people will say, "Oh, I don't know music theory. I just play. I just play." No, you know music theory, and in fact, you not knowing some of the labels and stuff is holding you back. So when we understand that music theory tells us what their chords are and our shapes and everything else, now all of a sudden we're able to navigate and we're able to hear a song, and I can find the chords to a song so quickly now using these methods as opposed to before when I would just like randomly be searching for some thousand or another chords. Remember, number one, thank you so much for the kind donations, Wolverine and Chris Crocker. Thank you. You know, when we learn all these bits and pieces, now we have some when we learn all these bits and pieces, now we have some roadmap because they could be thousands of chords. But like I say, once you know the tonal center, watch this. Once you know the tonal center, it goes from guessing thousands of chords to most likely only being 7 chords. Wow, that makes a big difference, does it? From thousands of chords to 7 possible chords. Then to go even further than that, I say start with the 1 chord, then the 4 or 5 chord, because they're the ones that appear the next. Probably the 5 chord, a little bit more than the 4, but pretty even. And then the minor 6. And if you go in that order, you're going to find these chord progressions so quick. Find the tonal center, then as far as the chords being played, try the 1 chord, the 4, 5, and the minor 6. And you're going to find the chords to your songs very, very quickly from there. And then try the minor 2, minor 3 diminished 7, all right? Okay? And then try borrowed chords, but do it in that order because 99% of everything you're hearing is going to be diatonic, okay? Make sense? Okay. All right, let's get to some questions. Dominant, yes, yes. All right, let's get it. Oh, the static is happening on his loudest speech. Oh gosh, you know something, guys? I'm not plugged in here. I wonder if I don't think that has anything to do with it, but I'm still plugging in here. Sorry, that's so we don't drop out. Doug, we're in the advanced lesson, buddy. We are talking about playing by ear, for sure. My knees hurt is hungry. Eric, have you heard about this chameleon that couldn't change color? It had a reptile dysfunction. Oh my God, that's great. It had a reptile dysfunction. That's amazing. Eric, do you need a nap after these live streams? You give so much. Oh, Jason, thank you so much. No, I'm jacked all day long. Yeah, been all day long. I'm pretty jacked. But when I sleep hard now. Play Sultan's Swing, right? So. If I could get this, hold on here, try to do something. Let's try this, I'm not gonna be able to do this, let's see, let's try this one more time. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Man, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to have that. It's just gonna sound like poop, but I have got videos of me playing this. You know. I've got videos of me playing that. It's a fun, super cool solo that has just chock full of amazing licks. Beautiful one. So how did you figure out the double stops Van Morrison riff that you keep playing? How did I find that out? By using my ear and using music theory, right? So, hey, come on up here, Choopy. Hey, look, everybody, it's Choopy. I hadn't seen Choopy in a while. Oh, that's my baby. And she's such a big girl that she can't get in here unless that gate's open, and my kid left the gate open. So, hi, Choopy. Say hi to everybody. Meow. Yeah, what a sweet baby. Oh, that's a big girl. So I did that by ears. I listened and I said, well, I can hear that they're double stops. I can hear that. You will be able to hear that after a while, just like anything else, right? We have this tendency to go, yeah, I got that, but I can't get that. Friends, gotta get that out of your dang head, okay? You're on a spectrum. You weren't able to do this. You weren't able to feed yourself or poop on a potty or walk or talk or do any of those things. Now look at you. You're a big boy, big girl, and you're able to do those things. Yeah, Eric, but I'm not able to do this. Yes, you are. The difference between that and this is time and practice. That's the only difference. You got to get in your head that you're able to do this stuff. Okay, truly, you got to understand this stuff. Did I get another donation here from somebody? I think I did. See, Picola, thank you so much. Been following you 4 years, lifetime member, best teacher. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you, thank you. You're welcome, see, Picola, and thank you for the donation. Super kind, friend. $25 is really generous. Thank you. So yeah, I just did that by ear. Same thing with Sultans of Swing. I took it and I took one note at a time. I took one riff at a time, and I listened to it. First off, I found out what the key is, and it was D minor. You know. Right? It's in. This is D blues, right here. All D minor. All D minor shapes, you know, all the notes from that scale. So something like that. Anyhow, you know, so you learn, once you learn those shapes, then all that stuff happens. Cats are evil. No, Jason, cats are not evil. They're the sweetest babies in the world. Sweetest babies in the world. Black cat. I've got 3 black cats. They're not bad luck. They're not. They're the sweetest. Black cats are actually some of the sweetest babies all. Hey, look, friends. Corey Congilio is here. Hey, all. This solo is jazz. This solo is jazz in what is now classic rock. Beautiful. And friends, by the way, in a half hour, Corey Congilio is going to be going live. We will drop the link in this broadcast because Corey is a fantastic instructor, amazing guitar player, and just an all-around great guy. So we will post a link for his live broadcast because he's going live today, Thursday, right, Corey? Pretty sure today's Thursday. Yeah. He'll be going live right after this at 1 o'clock. You do not want to miss him because he's teaching some serious cool stuff, all right? All right. Yeah, that one was Choopy. Tux is in the other room right now. My Zen guitar book question. That'd have been a great place to put the question, John. Is learning intervals by ear worth putting in your detective toolbox? Yes, indeed. Yeah. And so the way that a great way to learn intervals is to use association. By the way, a great way to learn anything, doesn't matter what it is, guitar or accounting or anything else, is association, right? So in school, what they would do is they would go, It would take like for a major 6 interval. My body lies over the ocean. My body lies over my body lies over the ocean. So right there, my body. And so that's a major 6. So we're using association. It's kind of a cheat, if you will, but it's not at all, because that's how we learn best, is through association. So, and there are videos that do this. I probably should create one myself, but essentially having interval associations, okay? Like my body lies over the ocean, or whatever it takes to do that, to make you remember something. Like my Sharona, right, is octaves. Right? So like using that would be a great way to remember an octave. So I just gave you my Bonnie, I gave you my Sharona. Those are 2 out of the 8 intervals that you're going to learn. So at 8, well, really, unison's not going to be an interval for you. That's 2 out of the 7 intervals that you need to know. So you got 5 more. So it's really, if you're using association like that, it's a great way to do it. Yes, it's a great one to have in your tool bag, because sometimes you will hear an interval and you'll go, okay, cool. It's major 6, and then you're going to be able to grab it with your fingers. And after a while, this becomes, the more you do it, the better you're going to get out of it. Make sense? Okay, tilt the camera down. Okay, yeah, you got way too, you got way too much of my hair and not enough the guitar, right? Hang in there. Still, you know something? My wife jacked with this. She was writing yesterday. That's the problem. I saw her jack with that. Come on, wife. Okay, there you go. Sorry about that. Who was the vocal instructor you mentioned yesterday? Was Brett Manning. He's a buddy of mine, and he's worked with Keith Urban and Haley Williams from Paramore, and a bunch of folks here in Nashville. But she's amazing, amazing. She's amazing. He's amazing. She's amazing too. But check Brett Manning out. His series is called Singing Success, and he's really, really good. For worse results. Yes, indeed. Blame it on the innocent wife. Oh, she's not innocent. Yeah, it was Brett Manning, yeah. Super good guy. I see him, well, I literally have breakfast with him like nearly every single day at the same joint we go to. Haven't for the last month here, but at Urban Market here in Franklin, I see him every single morning. We say, "What's up, Brett?" As well as Brett Papa sometimes is in there too. It's kind of a cool little place where kind of a few standards go all the time. Okay. All right, great questions. What other questions do you have in regards to playing by ear? You know, another thing that you can do is you can actually play or listen to certain chords. You can get together with another musician. You can say, what chord is this? Does it sound happy? Does it sound sad? What do you think? Does that sound happy or sad? Let's have a little fun here. You don't see that. What I'm doing is that happy or sad, major or minor? I'm waiting for you, by the way. Let me know. Everybody, tell me. Everybody, put this in the. If you feel confident about it. All right. All right. We have one sad. We got major 7, major, 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 happy, 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 happy. Excellent. It's a major chord. Okay, it happens to be a G major chord. Look at some of you are going the extra mile there. Beautiful. Okay, I'm purposely not showing you. Okay, now how about this one? What's this? Is this sad? Is it minor? You ready? Here we go. everybody's saying sad, minor, minor, sad. It is. Okay? It's an F minor. So, if I brought my little boy in here, he would hear the same exact chord, but he wouldn't be able to identify it. Why? Because he hasn't been shown, hey, buddy, this is an orange. He eats the orange. He goes, I associate that with that taste. Okay, the word orange associated with the taste. Cool. Or same thing with an apple. In your case here, you've associated that as being sad or minor through practice, right? Through just doing it some. So, so good for you. You're on your way. Now you can tell the two main chords is major and minor. Just that alone is pretty awesome. Now, sometimes when chords are used in context with each other, so in the same key, sometimes it can be a little bit harder to do. But listen, and I guarantee you're going to be better at this. Also, listen to the bass note. Where's that bass note moving? If you know the tonal center of a song, and you can hear that bass note moving around, and you hear it move to the sixth step of the scale, then 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, that note or that chord is going to be minor. You don't have to guess, well, I'm going to try major first and diminished. No, it's probably not. 99 times out of 100, it's going to be minor. If you go to the 5 and the 4 chord, 99% of the time, it's going to be major. So once you start seeing these patterns and using your ear a little bit to understand this, but using that theory, it's absolutely going to help you. Let's try one other one, okay? I'm going to throw you off here. You ready? Corey can't answer this one. I mean, he can, but he shouldn't. What chord is that? Sounds terrible, doesn't it? Somebody's saying sad, someone's saying diminished, someone's saying seventh. Is that happy? Minor seventh, diminished, okay. Suspense, good, suspense, that's great. Because back in the day, back in the not talkies, but before talkies, right? The girl would be on the train tracks and they would do this, right? They'd be doing this on the piano, right? Building that suspense. That's exactly what they use that chord for. And if you guess diminished, sad, minor, that's close. But the difference between a minor chord and a diminished chord, a minor chord is a 1, flat 3, 5. A diminished chord is a 1, flat 3, flat 5. So it is a minor chord, but then they flatten the 5, which makes it really unstable. That 5 wants to be perfect. And that's why we have that. It sounds like a horror movie. Yeah, good, exactly. So like right from a child's perspective, it sounds like a horror movie. Doesn't know what to label it yet, but you got that emotion there. You know what that chord is. That diminished chord pulls up that feeling of like, it's very horror movie, suspense, haunted house. It's all that, right? That's great. So now you have a label to put on it, diminished. Okay, and this is what you do is you start, once you have these little labels that you can put on things, then you can move them around, you know? You can talk about these things. Okay? Why? Why would you want to know this stuff? Okay, well, Mr. Corey is at a session and somebody says to him, hey, bud, instead of playing that chord, could you play a B diminished chord? And if he doesn't know what that sounds like or doesn't know how to play that chord, well, then that would be unfortunate, right? So it's just a matter of labels. That's all it is, okay? Yeah, the diminished chord sounds unresolved. Now, here's the deal. When we use these together with other chords, they don't sound so bad. There is a diminished chord hidden in here. Right? The diminished chord is the second chord right here. But if we put it between a major chord and a minor chord, in this case, the 1 and the minor 2, major 1 and the minor 2, it sounds good. So it's all in context. I say this all the time. I don't want to take an ounce of hot sauce to my eyeball or drink it directly as a shot, but I might put a little bit on my tofu scramble. Make sense? Okay, cool. You get it. You know what I'm talking about. All right, good. Young Frankenstein with Gene Wilder, Diminished. Oh, do they play that? Cool. All right, so what else? So, you might hear, the difference between, so let's try this. How many notes am I playing? Can you tell me that? How many notes am I playing right there? I'm waiting for you. Thank you, Brian. Some people saying 3. So, but here's the deal. Look, I see 3s, 2s, 3s, 2s, triads, lots of 3s, lots of 2s. Here's the deal. Good for you. Every response, good for you. Because you're close. It was 2. Some of you, those who said 2, it's 2. If you said 3, good. I know you can't see my hands. We're just working on our ear right now, John. So good, you're close, okay? It's a double stop. Now, what we do is we get more attenuated. So if I did this, that's 2. Here's 3, okay? And this only comes through practice. It's through listening and practice, and listening and practice, and you'll get more refined, right? You've done this over the years with your career. You've done this with workouts or whatever. You get better and better at this stuff as you do it more, okay? Double stops. So, then you have scale sounds. So if I did something like this, that right there, that sound. That is a diminished sound. It sounds very unstable, right? This right here is... right? That is a very bluesy type of sound. It's a blues scale, right? This right here... And by the way, that is minor. It was A minor blues. That sound right there. What is that? It's very minor sounding. I'm seeing a lot of folks say that's very minor, right? Okay. Let's try this. Let's try this. That sound right there is a very major sound, right? It didn't use any minor sounds. So very BB box, major, right? Yeah, exactly, right? The 7th sound sounds, very much like this, right? We got, there's this, that right there. Okay, so, once we can start putting these labels on these things, we can move them around. We can move them around as assets, and we can remember them, okay? Great. You guys are killing it today, so you guys know a lot more than I thought you did. Not that I don't think the world of you and think you're super smart. It's just you guys are really getting some stuff here. That's amazing. So here's the deal. The more you work on your ear, the better it's going to be. It's the only way to get a good ear, okay? With possibly, and I'm leaving this as a possibility, with the exception of perfect pitch. Some people will talk of perfect pitch, but it's a really different beast, okay? And it may be something that you're born with. I see some people saying you're born with it. I see other people who say they've taught this, like David L. Berg, if you want to check him out. David L. Berg, B-E-R-G-E. He used to be in all the guitar player magazines growing up and what have you. He says that you can develop this. Other people like Rick Beato says, no, you're born with it. His kid, he says, was born with it. And he says that adults can't develop it. I won't weigh in on it because I just don't know. I have a hard time believing that nothing can't be developed. So I would lean towards that it can be developed. But it's just an opinion, right? Just like all the other ones are opinions too. Maybe somebody's right though. Yeah. How long? How long did you practice as a kid? When I sucked. So I practiced a lot growing up. I practiced for, several hours a day, every single day. Sometimes, like in the summer and stuff, I'd practice for 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours sometimes. Yeah. Come here, buddy. Come here, sweetie. How does the mixolydian sound? So it sounds a little bit like a seventh chord because it has that flatted seventh in there. So that's A7. So if we played mixolydian, it has the flat 7 in there. Yeah. 99% of musicians have relative pitch. Yeah. I would think it was 100%, but I don't know. I've heard some people argue that some people are pitch deaf. I have a hard time even I don't care that there is a Wikipedia article on this. I don't care. I'm just going on logic. Okay, if there was a Wikipedia article that said that stabbing a knife in your eye was a good thing, I don't care that it's a Wikipedia article. I'm gonna use my common sense. So my understanding of hearing is that everything vibrates. It's the only thing that pitch is. It's vibration, it's frequency, it's something shaking, okay? So when I pick this string, I can't simultaneously not hear its pitch and hear at the same time. So I don't know, I would have to have somebody scientifically explain this to me. That being said, don't think that you're tone deaf. I get some crap for a video that I put up a few years ago saying that you're not tone deaf, basically, that there's no such thing of it. And then I get these people on there that are like, no, it's true, and da 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 da. Well, maybe, like I said, I don't believe it's true because I don't know how one can hear pitch or not hear pitch and hear something at the same time. It's sound. It is, you know what I mean? That's what sound is. It's pitch. Everything is pitch. Everything's vibrating at something. So I don't know. We wouldn't have sound without air. Yeah. Why do some people can't hear how bad they sound when they sing? Chances are that they do, but that they're not sure if they're sharp or flat and they're not sure how to correct it. This would come in time. So why do some people can't hear how bad they sing is because they haven't practiced as much, right? For the same reason as someone might play the guitar and their guitar is slightly out of tune. And they also people have different standards, right? So as you become a better player, a better singer, your standards are set higher. So you're not going to tolerate a guitar that goes out of tune. And Ella Fitzgerald is not going to tolerate a note that's out of intonation. So she's going to make sure that she practices enough to where her pitch is straight on every time, right? Same thing with guitar playing and tuning your guitar. So it does have to do with practice again, too. Yeah. This is not Tux. No, this is not Tux. This is Choopy. This is Chupacabra. This is my baby girl. She's a sweet baby. This cat has the sweetest heart in the history of cats. She is so, so sweet. History of animal, history of beings. She literally is amazing. So kind. Okay, I hear melody and pitch and timing just fine. It's lyrics that are muffled and tough for me to make out. Well, sometimes people don't sing lyrics very properly, right? And also when we're singing, right? When we talk, we have a certain cadence. And we don't hold notes out like this. And if we did, then we were going all over the place, right? It starts getting a little bit distorted because that's not the cadence that we take when we speak. So when we sing notes, which, by the way, if you don't think you can sing, you can sing, because when you speak, you are also singing. It's the same concept as the whole tone deaf thing. If you can't sing, then you also can't speak. But if you can speak, you also can sing. Because literally, when I'm talking like this, I'm creating notes. If I were to talk way down here, really super low, I'm actually singing very short notes, but it's way down here. But if I would go really super high, you can actually hear the pitch of my voice like Mickey Mouse, because I'm actually using pitch. Now, if I extend the length of the notes out a little bit longer, it becomes very sing-songy like, and now I'm singing like Elf, right? I'm singing. And so you can sing, you just may think that you're a crap singer, but that only has to do, number one, with your belief system, and it also has to do with you comparing yourself to others. Okay, that's fine. We need to if we want to sing good, right? And then also it has to do with practice or your lack of practice. So if you want to become a great singer, you can become a great singer. I used to not be able to sing. I used to not be able to sing harmony. I used to not be able to play the guitar. I used to not be able to poop on the potty when I was little. I'd poop right in my pants. Can you believe that? I couldn't talk when I was little. What the heck? What a dummy. No, I just hadn't learned it yet. So everything is learned, okay? Just understand that. Cut yourself a break. Everything is learned, okay? I'm getting mad for you. For you. I'm getting mad. I was always curious in the studio, how does a singer actually sing, and how much is this voice boosted in the preamp? Timothy, I mean, when you're singing in the studio, you're singing in the studio, right? So they may sing very lightly, but yes, you're singing into a microphone, that can be turned up and what have you, but it's probably not what you think it is. Like, there's a lot of talk about, you know, people can't sing anymore and all this stuff, and it's like, look, people can still sing, it's just that time is money. So if you're in the studio and if the singer's in there and they're taking 20 times to sing a song, but they could sing it 3 times, and you could take the best parts of every part of that song, it's called comping, and you could comp it down to one really nice sound and then tune it and sweeten it and stuff. It just saves time and energy. Doesn't mean they can't sing it. So when I see people talk like that, I think it's not entirely true. You know what I mean? It's just not. In fact, there's not really that much truth to it. I understand why people are, you know, salty about it and what have you. You know, my day I'd go in the studio and I'd sing it the first time or straight through with no sort of tuning whatsoever. I get it. You can also listen to old recordings of Zeppelin and what have you when they're out of tune and out of time and stuff like that. You can actually hear it. So whatever, and those were the best musicians, okay? So you can still hear them mess up. If you go watch live performances of Jimi Hendrix, you will hear him play sloppily. And I'm probably the only guitar player that'll say it. Sorry, it's true. Listen to, I mean, there's videos of him playing live, and they'll take out all the other instruments, and it's just Jimi Hendrix playing. And you can hear him hitting wrong notes and what have you. Whatever, you know what I mean? It's about the whole thing, right? This isn't a perfection thing. It's about the whole experience. Okay, the imperfections are the art. Yeah, I talk all the time about about Roxanne, right? When they remastered it, that bit in the beginning where you hear the chords slowly ramp up because they had the 2-inch tape going, or they didn't have it going and it had to ramp up, and it was at a pitch right in the beginning. And now in the new version of it, it's not like that. So, which I didn't like that. I liked it to, you know, I liked it to be nice and low. All right, in 5 minutes here, friends, we're going to head on over to Corey's page. Not yet. We'll still keep going here for a few minutes, but we will head over there in just a moment, okay? Brian May makes many a mistake live. Does he, Stephen? I haven't heard that yet. But yeah, you know, I've done it. It's embarrassing, especially if you are really vain, like I can be sometimes. It is. It's embarrassing when you mess up, but whatever. It's fine. I'll try one more time. Eric, I have $20 waiting on you to look into some Nick Drake. Kind of sad you aren't familiar. Saturday Sun, Pink Moon, Riverman, Black Eyed Dog. You don't have to pay me, brother. I'll look Nick Drake up after this. Nick Drake, I'm looking him up right now. Are you saying on YouTube? If you're saying so, bud, I'll look him up here. Nick Drake. Not now, but I'll listen to him afterwards, according to your Pink Moon. There he is. Okay, I'll look it up. I'll play it here when we're done. Cool. Beautiful. Thanks for turning me on to it. Eddie Van Halen does too, yeah. Thank you, Alex. That's a great one. You hear differently because your ears are close to your throat as well. So yes, that is 100% true. Now the pitch is going to be the same and stuff like that, but the timbre is going to be different. So if you've ever heard yourself on tape and you're like, oh my God, I hate that sound. That's only because you're not hearing things the way you're hearing it when you're singing. Okay, it's close, but you're hearing a lot more bass response and stuff like that. Here's an example of you plug your ears and you just start talking like this. You're going to still hear yourself speak, but it's going to be different. Okay, so that does have much to do with that too. Rick Beato quantized John Bonham, and it's pretty bad. Nice. Love that, Rich. Yeah, and you know what I mean? It's like, it's totally cool. Bonham was amazing. So it's like, it's cool. It's fine. It is what it is, you know? And then you can play the Iron Man. Yngwie Malmsteen is a really sloppy player live. Now, Timothy, I wouldn't agree with you there. I think Yngwie is insanely clean and a fast player. I wouldn't agree, but whatever. It's just my opinion. I probably don't know anything. It's just my opinion. I think he's super clean. Probably one of the cleanest players I've ever heard. But I've heard him make mistakes too. I've heard Stevie Ray Vaughan make mistakes. Mistakes are okay. It's not a big deal. Just means you're human. Just means you're a being. Oh, thank you, Bryant. I think I'm vain with like my clothes and my hair and stuff like that. Like, I can be. Yeah, take chorus in high school. Indeed, that's a great one. Take jazz class. Take all the ensembles you can. It's a great thing to do to become a great musician. Definitely. Yngwie has bad nights too, I'm sure. Yes. I've heard of Stanley Jordan. Stanley Jordan's a freak. He's so good, right? He plays like this. He plays like this. It's all tapping on the neck using all fingers. It's very, very amazing. Can I please play True by Spandau Ballet? I've never learned that tune, but I love that song. Love it. In fact, we were listening to that just the other day. Oh, thank you, Esther. Can you post the link where you are heading after this? Thanks. Yes, we can do that. As a matter of fact, we will do that here in just a second because we're going to all head over to Corey's page. Guys, if you don't know who Corey is, he's quite amazing. But let me close this out before we drop that link. Friends, I'm live with you every single day during the month of April. I want to help you play guitar. You have to believe me, man. When I tell you you can do anything you want on this instrument if you do the work and if you have the right instruction. Those are two big ifs, because some people don't want to do the work, and some people don't have the right instruction, but I have it here for you. Number one, the first link will give you the PDF. The second link below is going to give you access to the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. You got to do that, okay? You got to do that. That's going to help you a ton with this stuff, and then you will have access to all that great education, and then you do it step by step. If you have not already, before you go, please give this a thumbs up. If you've done it already, then don't do it, but go ahead and hit that thumbs up right now. Share this with a friend really quickly before you leave, and also subscribe before you leave, okay? Friends, thank you so much for the beautiful donations. You guys majorly showed up today. You guys have great questions. I love your spirit. I love the challenge here. You guys, I love doing these with you guys. So love you so much. Thank you. Friends, let's head over to Corey's page right now. If you don't know who Corey is, we'll drop that link in here right now. If you don't know who Corey is, he is a great player. He's a great instructor. In fact, I'm like, Corey, come on, let's do some lessons together. And we're planning on it after all this mess is over. But he's an amazing player, an amazing instructor. Go check him out and subscribe to his channel too, because that boy needs some more subscribers for as good as he is, okay? All right, love you. We're heading over to Corey's right now. You guys are amazing. I'll see you.